Hi there. We're now going to start to get into the definition of resilience and, more importantly, how we can cultivate this in our professional and personal lives. So over the last 10 years, I've been doing a lot of research and applied work on what really defines resilience and how can we have a thorough understanding of what this concept is before we work to cultivate it. My work has led me to basically three essential elements that I think capture resilience. One, the willingness to engage uncertainty and to push the boundaries. Number two, the willingness to navigate the fear that naturally comes with going into uncertain territory. And lastly, when you put those two concepts together, the wherewithal to stick with it when things get tight, to stay involved and engage when things get difficult. Obviously, now is a very relevant time to practice all of these things. And so what I'd like to do is show you a quick video on the first element, which is engaging uncertainty, and then have a small discussion on why I believe this is so important to resilience. So if you would please watch this video, and then we can come back and chat. Okay, so the reason why I think that video is so important is I think there's a fundamental question which there's no right or wrong answer to, but it's really important and related to resilience. And that question is, when this individual started walking across the road, did he know for sure that he would get to the other side or not? And I'd actually encourage you to pause the video right now and think this through and think about why you feel yes or no. So please, if you could please do that and then come back. Alright. So, there's legitimate arguments on both sides, and there's no right or wrong answer. If you felt like, yes, he knew for sure that he would get to the other side when he started, you could argue that the rationale for this is one, he seemed very confident. As he was going through, he seemed very deliberate. It looked like he had some practice, and so he had done this before. And number three, maybe the strongest argument, it seems like a pretty big risk to take if you're not 100% sure you can make it to the other side. After all, he was risking severe injury or potential death. And so that's the argument on the yes camp. On the no side, I think you could argue that you can be very confident in your ability to do something and still not have it end up the way you desire, because there's a lot of external elements. There's a lot of things that are outside of your locus of control, other drivers, other people. And we'll talk about those things in this resilience series. Another reason, and I think if you had to link this back to resilience, I would actually argue that the more correct answer is actually no. He didn't know for sure he could get to the other side. And the reason why I think that is, if you look at his reaction at the end, and you can go back and play the video again if you'd like, there's a certain jubilance and an authentic celebration that comes at the end. And I think that's very important because those types of reactions only come about when we really experience true growth and development. When we see the boundaries of what we can do and we decide to push it a little bit. And I'm not talking about taking crazy risks, but just being willing to go out into uncharted territory. Obviously that's extremely relevant now, and we're going to talk about this more in the chats. But I think this is a critical piece to resilience. What I'll finish with here is, how do we know this is important in peak performers? Well, if you look at certain teams or performers who perform well when they're supposed to, the reaction is not the same as when individuals accomplish feats that no one thought they could do. So if you think of an example from the NBA, the Golden State Warriors won a lot of titles. They won them because they were the best team and they had the best players and they were expected to win. Their reaction and their fans' reaction was not the same as, for example, when the Toronto Raptors won the championship, because they did something that was completely unexpected. It was a special growth moment. I think that's an interesting case study in doing things that are easy, that you know you can accomplish, and that you know you can succeed in, versus being willing to go out there a little bit and to push those boundaries. And this is what we want to talk about when we link to resilience. So that's the first piece. Next week we'll talk about the fear that comes with that, and then in subsequent weeks how to stick with that when things get difficult. But this will be a good starting point for all of us.